Jackson trying to escape and run for it, and he's got it and more. Lamar Jackson down the sideline. Will they give it to him? They will. Touchdown, Baltimore.
And with 1:17 left to play on Wild Card Weekend, the Hayes in the barn.
Oh my God! I wish you guys could. I wish we had a camera in here so you could see what we're doing. We're just a bunch of clowns in here.
How much fun is that?
All right, welcome on back to another edition of the Baltimore Beatdown podcast. It is Friday, April 16th. My name is Jake Luke. I'm joined by Vasilis Lericos and Spencer Nathaniel Schultz, who joined the chat earlier, our video chat that we got going here if you're watching on YouTube, wearing a shirt that the way the collar was opened, it was giving me some big Tony Soprano vibes, but it's actually just an underwear kind of...
This is Maryland Tony Soprano kind of vibes, I think. Yeah, I can see that.
He's got
the Under Armour a little bit.
He's going out to get the paper and just mean mug at his neighbors wearing his Under Armour thing. But here we are. We are, in the lab on a Friday. Draft is coming up, middle of April. We're life's good, as Voss was saying before the pod got going here.
Indeed. Good to see you guys for sure. Good time of year. Can't wait for the draft. 2 weeks from tonight, right?
Think so, yeah.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yes. I'm chilling. I'm pilling. I'm villain. I'm doing it all. Bulling out here, and I'm excited. We have a fun episode tonight. I'm very pumped. I was slightly pumped. Thought we were just going to do a regular mock draft. We'll get into what we're going to do a little later, but we got some sauce for you tonight, ladies and germs. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be saucy. It's going to be a little bit of a customized, sort of modified mock draft type thing, is what I would call it. 3-man weave type situation. That's why we got Voss in here. And yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun. We are excited to jump into that, but we did also want to quickly touch on some, a little bit of news. I don't really know what I would call this as far as, hard hitters as far as news, but Justin Houston at the Castle this past Thursday for a visit with the Ravens. This was something that was originally reported by Rita Hubbard, I believe her last name is, with Pressbox. And then Lock-In Fora jumped all over it and acted as if he was the one who reported it, which he certainly did not. So, shout out.
I got an anonymous tip that Justin Houston.
Just sitting there with my kids, trying to report about Justin Houston, and the Ravens are maybe going to sign him. But so he was in the facility visiting with the team on Thursday. Jim Irsay was sitting there back in Indianapolis talking about how Houston could come back, maybe strumming away at a Fender Stratocaster or something, just totally pilled out. That was mean. I take that back. But yeah, it sounds like it comes down. Sounds like it comes down to
just playing some soft ballad, just cranking some strings, and just has a
totally come back, man.
just shredding and ruining dreams.
Jim Irsay, I think, is a good dude. We don't have to get into that, but he's got his demons. I take that.
Vaz is smiling, but he's like, did you just call an Irsay a good person? Like, I want you dead.
I understand the history. I understand all that stuff, but the guy, I judge people based on their actions. And other than maybe a few lewd tweets that he was sent out, by mistake, we all make mistakes. Who
wins in a fist fight, Mark Davis or Jim Irsay?
I feel like Mark Davis fights dirty, and Jim Irsay, like I referenced, he might not be all the way there. So Mark Davis is just like wipes him out, and he's just on PF Chang's or like whatever else he's on for the day.
PF Chang's.
Go get his haircut.
Anyway, Justin Houston, yeah.
Yeah, so Justin Houston at the Castle on Thursday, as the train has flown off the rails 4 separate times already, 4 minutes into this thing, but he was at the Castle on Thursday visiting with Baltimore. Very quiet, not a lot of stuff came out of it. No media. Sometimes they'll do like a video of the guy or whatever, but yeah, very quiet. Sounds like they might be waiting until May 1st to get an official deal done with any edge rusher, not just him, but this is the first guy they've kind of laid their sights on, but it has been reported they are kind of monitoring the market for other guys. Maybe Ryan Kerrigan. Clowney came off the market with the Browns the other day, so he wouldn't be in the mix, but they're monitoring the situation with all edge rushers, and Houston appears to be the top target right now.
I think Houston would be a fun addition in terms of like veterans having that veteran defensive front. I think he would get along well and be enticed. It feels like Calais Campbell feels like your favorite player's favorite, your favorite defensive lineman's favorite defensive lineman, as we like to say. It feels like he's boys with everybody that rushes the passer or plays on the defensive line at all. Him, Big Baby, Derek Wolfe. I feel like they would all be boys that would get along really well. And of course, Houston I feel like he's just one of the more underappreciated players of his era. And he's just been a consistent sack master, getting those, 7, 8, 10, 12 sacks for 8, 9 years at this point. And I guess he's in year 11, but I think he started off a little slow. But yeah, Houston feels like probably will be a post-comp pick addition. And, get Calais Campbell on there. Me and you, man, we're going to get it done.
That was pretty good.
Be good. I don't think anybody is opposed to Justin Houston. And I think I'm getting a little too meta with, is it a Super Bowl move? And again, I'm going to say no, but it's better. It's making the team better.
At this point, it's hard to ask for a Super Bowl move. And maybe there's one to be made in the first round or two, or the collective first 2 rounds of the draft. But kind of feels like we're past that point, and you're kind of just trying to make your roster incrementally better. So from that perspective, I would really like it. I would be curious to see what the money would be, because did Clowney just get $8 million from Cleveland?
Up to 10. Maximum
up to 10, I think. Yeah,
8
something like
10.
that.
So yeah, you're probably looking at a little bit less than that, maybe 6 to 8 for a guy like Houston, which I'm totally fine with. Like you said, not a Super Bowl move, but you got a needed edge rusher, and Ngakoue really didn't get that many sacks last year, so letting him walk was probably the right move. And if you can get a guy like Houston for less money and to maybe potentially actually get sacks, feels like it could maybe even be an upgrade there on Ngakoue at least.
Yeah, Houston's had a great career, definitely a Pro Bowl career, borderline Hall of Famer. Definitely slowed down a little bit the last couple of years. The other guy to keep an eye on will be Melvin Ingram, who had some knee issues last year. They're kind of 1A, 1B for me. The question is, are they going to be able to land Houston, because they're being so frugal with the comp picks, and that's kind of the big question. Is it worth sacrificing a 4th-round comp pick for Houston? The Ravens just been very frugal this offseason. They made a lot of really great value additions, but like Spencer's saying, they haven't made Super Bowl moves, and they're carrying around a lot of cap space, 3rd most, 4th most cap space in the year next year projected. So maybe they think their window's next year. I don't know. But it'd be great to add an outside linebacker if they can. If not, maybe they double dip in the draft or triple dip. I don't think the sack production drives the defense as much, but it would be nice to have a veteran. So we'll see how it plays out. But I would not be surprised if he does end up back in Indy if the Ravens are so pressed on keeping that 4th-round comp.
Yeah, speculation.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna cut you off. Speculation Nation. I just don't think they're gonna do a 1-year deal. I think they're like, hey, buddy, you want to come for two and a 3rd year tacked on? Like, you want to come finish here in Baltimore, like so many have before? It's just pure speculation. But Ravens just aren't in that 1-year business too much. And Sammy Watkins, I think they got a little desperate, and they didn't even have to. They didn't spend desperately either. It's a really small deal. So it feels like, hey, you want to come play with Calais and Brandon Williams, Derek Wolfe? We'll give you a 2-3 year deal. And it's going to be the one where they're able to cut you in the 2nd or 3rd year or whatever. So I just think they're trying to leave themselves dry. It feels like DeCosta's been super active in season lately. I think he likes that flexibility. So I feel like it'll be like a 2-year, maybe 2-year deal up to $14 million, something like that, where it's like, hey, you want to come possibly finish in Baltimore, where so many pass rushers have done similar things.
In-season point, that's a good point, because I've been thinking that lately too. They're not necessarily a juggernaut on paper right now, but I could definitely see a trade deadline acquisition, and maybe that's what they're saving some of this cap space for.
Yeah, and I would think they would be hanging on to the comp picks for that post-Lamar contract world. So I can understand a little bit of trepidation on that front, but if I were them, I would be maybe just kind of getting the deal done here. You waited on the wide receiver position. You wound up with Watkins, which will maybe be fine, but you're going to have to be maybe hitting that position hard, or at least hitting pass catcher hard in the draft. And I don't know. It just kind of feels like this would be a move that would make sense for both parties. And if it is that, couple year deal that you were talking about, Spencer, I just don't think that would put them out too much, but we'll see what they do, as with all things. But I guess that's enough on Justin Houston, unless you guys got anything else.
The last thing I would say is just that saving that comp pick and getting him, I feel like the Ravens like to trade those mid-round picks because they get so many comp picks. So if they are kind of setting up for the 3rd consecutive year to make some noise before the trade deadline, then having those comp picks in that sense to give yourself some mobility and some disposable assets is very strong, as opposed to not. Which is
sort of where I like it, because like even maybe this a few years ago, this is a non-issue and he's on the team because comp picks weren't tradable. Now that they are, that kind of changes the game in a way that maybe we weren't even thinking of when they announced that they would be tradable.
I think the new wave is not drafting players with the comp picks. I think it's trading them for proven players and using them. I think that seems to be the wave that DaCosta is on, in terms of knowing that he's going to have them, being able to trade them later, whatever, having that fortitude in the draft, knowing you're going to have them, and remaining very liquid, remaining able to get rid of and move assets around the middle of the year. And it feels like DaCosta's gotten really good value. I mean, Ngakoue was a third and a fifth, but I think Ngakoue was a good move for a third. I like what they were trying to do. It didn't turn out as well as any of us thought all the way. I think that he was fine, but I just feel that the value of the comp pick is not using them in the draft. It is to trade them for proven veterans. I think that is like the big brain meme in its fullest capacity.
Just impact players. I think they need another impact player or two, whether that's via trading comp picks, whether that's making strong moves in the draft, whether that's making moves in free agency. It doesn't matter, as long as they're not just think that they don't need any more impact players and they're content to re-sign the Anthony Levines and Chris Boards and think that's enough. As long as they're ready to however they do it, just we need a couple more, I think, to kind of get over that hump.
Houston plus maybe two guys in the draft. Boom. Good plan.
Yep.
For sure. And it frees you up to go all in on offense, which I think I and a lot of fans would like to see this coming draft. So again, going to see what happens, but I think some good discussion there all around on Justin Houston, which, by the way, you love to see a guy whose last name is also a city.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just, my tip.
Do the Ravens don't have any of those. So check it off.
I don't
need somebody hyphened in the draft.
Hyphenated. There's not enough city last names out there. This is, it would be better if he were
Jackson,
from
Mississippi. Boom, got one.
Okay. We like that. All right.
I'm sure there's a brown city somewhere.
You have to think so. Okay, so that's all we got on Mr. Justin Houston.
We went in a very insightful discussion that quickly became uninsightful, and that is this podcast.
That's the beauty of it, is we just weave in and out of serious and the unserious. That's
exactly. When you need to tune out, when the listeners need to tune out, they absolutely can. But when you want every 5 minutes, we'll pump in some good stuff and then give you a break with some very low Q, and that's what you guys are here for.
No doubt.
Okay, so with that, we can go ahead and I guess take our ad break now. And now that we're back from it, boss,
and we're back.
And we're back. I'm just going to go full radio douche for the rest of this episode. Vasilis Lericos joining me. Ira and the douche at 7:26. Boss, you hit us up about doing this segment that we are now going to be, I guess you'd say, debuting. We did it a couple of years ago under a different sort of umbrella as far as the podcast ownership. I wouldn't even call it that necessarily, but what are we doing here?
So it's a kind of a different take on a mock draft. The three of us are going to draft 22-man rosters in any order that we want. The only parameters are that we have to pick different players, to fill out a roster: quarterback, running back, tight end, wide receivers, offensive line, defensive line, and see who has the best team. There's a little bit of strategy involved. What positions do you want to take? What positions do you not want to take? And I was just saying,
sorry, I distracted you guys. I was just saying, I did not read. Vaz hit us up about this idea, and I did not read his full text. All I saw was,
which is a regularity here. It's just like,
I saw Vaz. Hey, you guys want to do a mock draft pod? And I was like, yes, I'm in. And I didn't read the rest of it, and it's so much cooler. I'm sorry, keep going, Vaz.
No, I mean, how many times can you do a mock draft, the same old thing?
And I think we did that. We did that last offseason. And so it's good that we did the big boards, because that kind of gave a little bit more of an in-depth look at like the entirety of the draft. And mock draft pods are always fun, but this is kind of a fun, different take on it.
Yeah, this will go 66 players deep between the three of us, and kind of be able to pick your guys, not necessarily who you think Cincinnati's going to take with the 5th pick, but who do you like, or who would you take in that situation? So I think it'll be fun.
It is going to be fun, and like he said, it's going to be our own teams. We're each drafting a roster of 22 players, and I'm going to go ahead after this episode and put together a graphic that we're going to be tweeting out with the episode tomorrow for you guys to vote on for who won the draft, who has the best team. So get excited for that. And we've already determined the order here. I believe it's going to be Voss first, me second, Spenny third and fourth on the snake draft, and then it comes back around.
No,
right?
Spenny's first. Spenny's first.
Oh, damn it. All right, yeah, that's fine. I was like, yes, because in a fantasy draft, I always want 10 or 12. Having those 2 back end picks, boom, those are so money.
Listen, I caught the shaft, but I'm such an honorable guy that I'm going to take it. Also, just got my vaccine yesterday, so playing a little bit of a flu game, but it doesn't matter because I'm just built different. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just fucking ready to fire from 3 all night long and put together a great team.
Let's go.
It doesn't even matter. There's no team concept. We're just doing players. Okay. I had to get myself down. Okay. All right. Well, let's rip this bad boy up. I'm ready.
We're going to fuck the picks up. So I'm going to pull up the NFL draft order in front of me here, which is great production on my part to not already have it up.
We don't even need the order.
No, we're just
we don't need the order. The order is just us. There's no team involved.
Yeah, you're right.
We're making our own team.
It's just Team Spencer. Yeah.
Listen, Jakey regrets the air. That was an oversight. I got my legal pad here, very official. So we're gonna have all of our picks written down right here. And whenever you clowns are ready, I am ready.
All right, let's fire it up. I'll go first. I'm going my quarterback, and I love Trevor Lawrence to death, but I'm going Justin Fields. I've been pretty contrarian to all the noise this entire offseason. I just think when you're scouting traits, the dude has, and now one of my favorite guys to follow if you're into quarterback content, he's taught me a lot through just following him and reading his articles. Derek Clausen, who's been with Football Outsiders, Roto World, all over the place. Friend of the podcast, friend of Lamar Jackson's being a good quarterback, all that kind of stuff. He gave me even sturdier legs in Justin Fields being, my quarterback 1, in saying he was the most accurate quarterback he had ever charted. And then you factor in, from an analytical standpoint, the fact that his average depth of target was higher than anyone else's, the fact that he threw the least amount of screens. And then you take him and put him into an offense where you could do those things, and you can only imagine how great he would be. Running the scheme that BYU ran with Zach Wilson, that wide zone boot scheme that Ryan Tannehill and Baker Mayfield and Zach Wilson in college now have all had success in. Put Justin Fields in that. He's the most accurate with the most arm talent deep. And he has the athleticism. He has the poise. He does not get deterred in the pocket. His issues, I believe, that people have gone so in depth with. Ohio State runs a lot of really long developing vertical routes that have NFL option concepts. That's how Ryan Day has gone and really taken the reins from Urban Meyer and gone a little bit beyond. They want to take shots down the football field. And Justin Fields, he's waiting for the option because, you say he's staring down a target. That might bring a safety over, sure. But there's no right answer when a guy has an option route. If you're staring at him, it doesn't, you can't really jump it unless you know what's coming. So I think that's been a little bit overblown for sure. The athleticism on top of it, the toughness on top of it, the killer kind of attitude that he brings as well as a quarterback, as just a silent assassin. He is very even keel. And I mean, if you didn't get, and this is the fan part of me in a quarterback and what I like. And if you didn't get freaking let's go vibes, goosebumps from him taking that shot, that crippling back shot, against Clemson, and and then just coming back and just slinging the damn thing 60 yards downfield. He is a rare blend of a pocket passer that can run a 4.4 and has moves in the open field. He made Jamar Johnson, who is a second, third round safety, look like a damn fool in the open field a couple of times. Like, he can do it all, man. I love him. I love his attitude. I love his work ethic. I personally, I'm never going to get to talk to the guy, but QB1 back when he was in high school, same attitude.
Don't say that.
What'd you say?
Don't say that. You'll maybe get to talk to him.
Maybe I'll talk to him. Whatever. But him overall, I just love it. I love his attitude. I love how he was on the show QB1. Spencer Rattler, you can see on that, big douche. Like, not a fan of Spencer Rattler's attitude.
Tate Martell.
Douche
on that show.
Exactly. And I think Justin Fields, just seeing where he was then, understanding how quiet he was at Georgia, how he really quietly dealt with that situation. Whereas a Tate Martell, for example, made so much noise about a transfer and multiple transfers and whatever, but Fields just kind of seamlessly integrated into Ohio State, into a completely different offense, and immediately took off, got into a death pit in that, what was that 2020 playoff game against Clemson, that really close game. That was a really tough physical game. That was a fun one to watch. But overall, my guy, Justin Fields, that's my quarterback.
That is how you make and defend a contrarian pick. I think you just went 5 straight minutes making the pick and defending it. I had a feeling you were going to do that. I like the pick a lot. I like Justin Fields. He's easily my QB2.
Likewise.
Which kind of leads into my pick here, which is my QB1, which is Mr. Trevor Lawrence, who you mentioned there. You hit on Clemson, and I'm going to be loath to jump into all the great descriptors, and great job that you just did breaking Fields' game down. But I just know that when I watch Trevor Lawrence, that it's like my mom could scout Trevor Lawrence. Like the guy he goes there. He's just got the natural release. He's very quick. He's a lot more mobile than you would think looking at him just, in a picture or whatever. He's very he looks I had a weird thought about him the other day, maybe a weird kind of drunk shower thought type thing. He just looks bigger. Like he looks like in Mario when you get like the mushroom and you grow bigger than everyone else and you just stomp through there. And he's not even what is he like? He's 6'5", right? Just kind of a regular tall quarterback height type deal.
He's up there. I think he might be 6'6". He's 6'5", 6'6". He's a big boy. 6'6".
Yeah, so he's definitely a big boy, but he looks even bigger than that somehow because he's playing against these guys that, some guys are taller, some guys are faster, some guys have a stronger arm. He's taller and faster and has a stronger arm, quick release. He's got a good head on his shoulders, I think. I've heard some interviews with him where I think he comes across really well, very mature. He was on the cover of
Presidential.
SI. Yeah, exactly. He was on the cover of SI the other day, and what I really like about that is he took the opposite tack of Baker Mayfield, for example, who gets a lot of shit on this show, and I think Baker's turned himself around to his credit, but the whole nobody believed in me shit, that can get kind of grating when you're the first overall pick. And he basically, Trevor Lawrence said yeah, no, I've had a pretty good fucking life. Everyone's believed in me, everything's fine, and I'm not going to pretend I've had the deck stacked against me. I have great talents, and I'm confident in my ability to use them, and I'm going to do well in Jacksonville and in Jake's team as well, because he is going to be my first pick here, Mr. Trevor Lawrence.
Good picks, guys. I follow college recruiting to a pretty good extent. And
one of your favorite sports, right?
It is. 247 Sports, Bud Elliott, one of the best premier high school analysts out there, pegged Lawrence and Fields as the two best quarterbacks maybe in the last 20 years coming into college, and neither of them did disappoint. And I'm also happy that you guys took them, because now I get to choose between Wilson and Lance with my 22nd pick, since you guys can't pick a quarterback.
I was about to.
If I had done the third pick, I definitely would have done that.
So I'm going to take.
If you picked a quarterback, I was coming for you.
No, hell no.
I was good. Let's go.
I'm taking Kyle Pitts because he's a freak tight end. Best tight end since Vernon Davis. I think he's better than Vernon Davis. He has it all: the production, the technique, the skill, the athleticism, the testing, and you guys, the tight end 2 and 3 are nowhere close to him. So he's my first pick. And my second pick, the 4th overall pick, it's a little bit of a tough one, but I'm going to go with Jamar Chase. I think he is a special wide receiver. I think he's going to help. He's his physicality that he plays with at the catch point, and what he was able to do for a national championship team as a true sophomore was special. He's a total package. I think he's going to be one of the top 10 receivers in the NFL within the next 2 years, and I am happy to have him headlining along with Pitts my receiving core.
Yeah, that's a very Voss 1-2 punch there. You're going Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, kind of leading the way with that pass catching power situation there, and you're going to obviously have Lance or Wilson there throwing them the ball. So it's going to be a nice 1-2 punch there. But I'm going to go ahead and lock up. You're a big premium position guy. I'm going to lock up one of the most premium positions for my premium first pick in Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to go with Penei Sewell, the tackle out of Oregon. Just big, tall, smooth, just gliding Day of the Jackal looking motherfucker. He gets out in space. He blocks guys with ease. He just makes everything look very easy for a, again, 6'6", 6'7" tackle. just doing it all there in that Oregon offense. So Penei Sewell is my second pick, blocking for Trevor Lawrence.
Boom. I'm going to rattle off. I'm going to go with a bold strategy here. I'm going to go Patrick Surtain the second, and I'm going to take J.C. Horn. I'm going to get 2 dog press man corners that can immediately come in and fight. I like J.C. Horn's competitiveness. I like Patrick Surtain's technique, and I like the opposite for both of them. I think Horn's physicality is his trump card. I think that Surtain's technique and discipline are his trump card, but they are 5-tool corners. I can now cover very well. I'm happy to do that with these next 2 picks. And yeah, I like where I'm at. I got a quarterback. I got some man coverage going, and Horn and Surtain are going to be, maybe I feel like Horn has the persona to be a very, very dominant corner. I feel like he has the physicality, the profile, and that ability to really play with anyone. Surtain, I could see being maybe, not a top 5 corner. And maybe he's a cornerback one, like a William Jackson is his floor, I would say. Someone like that. That's a good corner, but not, going to go shut everyone down for 10 years like a Patrick Peterson or something. But I think that both of them are very safe and can play press, can help in the run game, can do everything you ask of them. I think they're high caliber, high everything. So those are my guys.
I'm going to lock up the other bookend side here at right tackle, and I'm going to go with Rashawn Slater. Who is just one of my absolute favorite prospects here out of Northwestern. Another guy who just moves really well. He's not quite as tall as Sewell, I don't believe. He might be kind of close, but he's a little bit boxier, but he's just very solid technical player who I think is going to be, potential to be a top 10, 15 pick in the real draft. As a left tackle, I'm getting him at value for my right tackle spot. So we got 2 bookend tackles there protecting for Trevor Lawrence to kind of get things started along my offensive line. So those are kind of, you're maybe seeing my strategy a little bit for how I want to build this team up. I want Lawrence to stay upright and be able to sling the ball around to the pass catchers that are going to be forthcoming.
You guys are wiping out the board at tackle and corner. I don't like to see that premium positions.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to take Christian Barmore, not because I think he's the 7th best player in the draft, but because he's far and away the best defensive tackle in this class. A little bit inconsistent, not totally experienced, but he's a penetrator. And he really came on strong during the playoffs. So he's going to be the anchor of my defensive line. And with the second pick here, debating between a few guys. I'm going to take Tevin Jenkins. I really like this guy. I think he's an excellent player. He's my dream scenario for the Ravens at 27. I don't think he's going to make it there, but even if he gets close, I think he'd be awesome. He's just such a strong player, dominant, nasty attitude, and very refined technique in pass protection as well. So Tevin Jenkins, Christian Barmore, building up the trenches a little bit.
Nice. And I'm going to stick with offense here, and I'm going to go with Jalen Waddle, who is he's not the best wide receiver prospect here, but he might be my favorite. He's a guy who I think has some similarities to Odell Beckham, very unique prospect, ability to get deep, ability to catch the ball at different interesting platforms, able to get up and snatch the ball away from defensive backs. Just really fun to watch, kind of a stick of dynamite there. Got some Tyreek Hill vibes from him, definitely a little bit bigger, and I think projects as a really nice wide receiver 1 for somebody, and it's going to be for me as I'm picking Jalen Waddle here with my 4th pick.
I'm going to take Jalen Phillips and Kwity Paye. I'm going to pair the 2 of them. I'm going to put Jalen Phillips as the field side rusher. I'm going to put Kwity Paye as that boundary stacker, that big boy over there. And I think those 2 pair really well. I'm confident to have 2 high, explosive, capable pass rushers. Paye, someone that I find to be an elite level run defender that is a work in progress. And then Phillips, I'm assuming that the medicals all check out. Someone that I like as a comp to Joey Bosa. He has unbelievable swipes. He beats up, has inside capability. He beats up offensive linemen. He has inside capability. He can go through you. He can go around you. I think he's a very complete pass rusher. Everything that you want. He has the high caliber. And, it's classic. One of my favorite bits on Twitter right now is the joke of Jalen Phillips being this surprising late riser in the draft process when he was one of the top recruits in the history of high school football. So I love the irony of that, and I'm getting 2 pedigreed, dominant, athletic rushers.
Nice. I like that strategy a lot. Those two guys are going to be causing some havoc. That's for sure. So I like your strategy of going defense a little bit. I don't think people necessarily would have seen that coming, but I think for me, it's time to switch over to the defensive side of the ball. And this might be a little bit of a devalued position. Shout out to Voss, but I don't really care because I want a heartbeat, a captain of my defense. I'm going to go with Micah Parsons, linebacker 1 out of Penn State. That's going to be a guy that I'm just going to plug into the middle there. And there's not going to be too many questions. I think he's going to a guy who's going to be just a real tone setter for me and go sideline to sideline and help set the tone for a defense that I'm a little bit behind the count on, but hopefully going to be catching up here. And Micah Parsons is my first pick.
Good choice. Good choice. Let's see here. You guys are making some strong picks. I think I need to adjust my strategy. I'm going to go with –
I guess you probably didn't expect us to make strong picks, eh, douche?
No, not quite. I'm going to go with Newsome, the corner out of Northwestern. He's the corner 3 right now because we don't necessarily know what's going on with Farley's back. Heard it might be a degenerative issue. Lean, a little bit of a lean corner, but he can really mirror
Paul Wall.
And yeah. And so that's going to be my first choice. With the second choice now.
Newsome I like a lot. Newsome, I think, is someone that can play off. He's someone that can press. He's someone that can play in zone coverage. I think he is maybe the most scheme versatile corner. So I like that pick a lot.
Thank you. Where's the value? Where's the value? Not sure where the value is right now. Let's go with Javante Smith. Wide out.
Damn it.
He can only last for so long. A little bit of a question mark is how he's going to project to the next level with his size, but what a refined, skilled, technically savvy wide out. Won the Heisman Trophy as wide receiver, very rare. And I guess he'll be manning my slot. Chase and Smith.
I'm not happy.
I think your corners are going to have their work cut out for them, Spencer.
They are going to have their work cut out for them. I was money that Javante Smith was going to be my next pick. I was so excited.
I'm glad he didn't because he was starting to slide, and I was like, oh, shit, Spencer's definitely going to grab him. But Javante Smith there off the board for Voss. I think I'm going to go ahead and stick with defense here. I picked Parsons to be that kind of linebacker in the middle there. I'm going to go ahead and grab a guy on the edge now. I'm going to go with Azeez Ojulari, just a very solid prospect that can do a lot of different things. I get some Matt Judon vibes from him. He rushes to passer. He drops back into those hook zones. And he kind of just always seems to know what he has to do. I don't think he's necessarily a spectacular prospect, but again, just another really solid guy that's going to jump in there and maybe be a B+ for me, even from day one there next to Micah Parsons on my defense.
I'm going to go ahead and take Christian Darasaw, left tackle, Virginia Tech. Darasaw, this is the dual-edged sword of Darasaw. He leaves a lot to be desired on the field in terms of finishing plays, but the fact that he was so utterly dominant and didn't really finish is something I see as a glass half full perspective, that he could finish better. But the fact that he was able to really be a wall between whoever in the ACC was trying to rush the passer, I see him as a very solid player. Maybe ends up being a right tackle. Then I'm going to go ahead and take Elijah Vera Tucker as well. I think both of them have a little versatility. Elijah Vera Tucker, we know he has versatility to play guard, to play tackle, and I get some fortitude going on the offensive line. Elijah Vera Tucker may be one of the safest prospects in this entire draft. He can play anywhere. People like him in his own scheme, but you see him as someone who can pull really well, as someone that can move, as someone that didn't have trouble anchoring, that has really solid technique. So I'm gonna rattle off a couple offensive linemen there. Continue the double dips.
Interesting. All right, let me take a look at this board here real quick. Okay, so in terms of looking at positions of need for myself, there's definitely, you guys have gotten a little cute with some of these double dips. I do tip my cap to you as far as that goes, as my filibuster continues here while I continue to peruse the board. But what I'm going to do is I got a couple guys up in the front seven. I'm going to flip back into the secondary. A couple of my CBs have gone off the board here. So I'm going to go maybe another surprise pick here, but I'm just going to lock down a position. I'm going to go with Trevon Moehrig, free safety, coming out of TCU. They're a guy who a lot of people like as that sort of free range. Well, I probably shouldn't say free range because that gives off like chicken that you're going to eat in like a vegan restaurant vibes. But just kind of a rangy guy who's, kind of, again, just a really smart player, can come down and hit, and a dude who's going to be a captain on my defense. So Trevon Moehrig is going to be my next pick.
Good pick. I think I might take a page out of Spenny's book. Let's see, actually. Maybe not quite yet. Let's see. Jake has. Spenny's got 2. I'm gonna wait there. Actually, I'm playing the long game. I'm gonna take Farley and hook him up with a fantastic, back surgeon, and he's gonna stay healthy.
I was like thinking you were gonna like be debating your second pick with him, and I was like, oh fuck, hopefully he doesn't take him with that second pick, and you just take him with the first one. So great job.
Yeah, it's a really good defensive back class, I think. And then let's see here. Yeah, let's.
I mean, Farley to me is the best of the corners, and the medical concerns are serious. But Farley was my cornerback 1 before all that happened.
Right, I think he was a cornerback 1 on across the board. It's just the second back surgery. My dad had that surgery, and it could be problematic. But I guess I'm going to take.
You just feel the tension.
I'm going to take Landon Dickerson. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to play him at center or guard yet, but I'm going to take some of these players that maybe have some medical concerns, because I don't know if I told you guys before, but we're only playing this out for 1 season, so I'm not really worried about longevity. So let's go for it.
That's a great nihilistic viewpoint to take. I like it a lot. Okay, so we are on pick 8 now? All right, let's take a look here. Landon Dickerson, that's a good pick there. All right.
Dickerson was going to come off the board for me for sure. I mean, he's just a tone setter. He's a giant. Fun personality, good guy to have on your team.
Okay, so I don't even know too much about this guy. I've only watched a little bit of him up to this point, but I need a cornerback, and I'm going to go with Tyson Campbell out of Georgia. He seems like a guy who a lot of people seem to like as like in maybe a second tier of the corners you guys have already grabbed. Pretty much all the good ones are the ones that I would have wanted to pick early. So he's pretty much going to be my CB1, and we're just going to have to kind of make it work. So Tyson Campbell is my pick here at 8.
I'm going to rattle off. I'm going to keep the double dip. I'm going to go Rashad Bateman and Terrace Marshall. Give me the tall speedster who can go vertical, extend the field. Marshall, I think I'm taking a little earlier than I would like to, but you guys kind of jacked all the super high ones, so I'm going to double dip here again. Marshall, to me, is someone whose feet aren't all the way under him yet. I don't think he is the most dynamic separator laterally, whereas I feel like Bateman is. I think Bateman can drop his weight really well, set guys up extremely well with Justin Fields as my quarterback. I think him and Marshall would have a good relationship. And then having Bateman be someone who can move the chains and work and create some more separation. And I'm just going to keep double dipping. Just I like sweeping them across the board. But overall, Marshall maybe a little higher than I would have wanted to go. But I think having those two and then being able to pair them with someone else later will be a lot of fun. And so Bateman, obviously love him. Think he fits the production and size and profile of a high production receiver in the NFL. Marshall, someone who I think is a little more boomer busty. Has some drops, has some big contested catches, has a lot of speed, played in a really prolific offense, but you feel a little safer knowing that in a simply shittier offense this past year without Joe Brady, that he still looked a little bit like a man amongst boys. And I was listening to Brian Baldinger, his podcast. I don't know if a lot of people listen to. It's horrible audio quality, worse than me on these AirPods right now. But he was talking about right. I was going to say he was talking about scouting at its core is just looking at movement skill is really all it is. And you can kind of really easily, Jake, you said earlier, Mary Luke would be able to identify Trevor Lawrence. You can kind of just tell when guys are moving a little bit differently than everyone else. And I think I feel safe enough in Marshall as a pure mover on the football field to be a solid number 2 vertical stretcher. So those are my 2 wide receivers.
Good picks. So I'm going to go ahead and follow your run there, and I'm going to get my wide receiver 2 in Kadarius Toney. Guy out of Florida, the Banshee is what I call him. John Rambo is another nickname I would give to him. Just a guy who's an absolute warrior with and without the ball in his hands. He's looking to shake guys when he's running routes. He is looking to run through guys when he has the ball in his hands. He's just a freaking hurricane, just rocking defenses like a hurricane. Shout out to the Scorpions and also the CIA. But yeah, Kadarius Toney, just one of my absolute favorite prospects, an absolute my guy. You mentioned some of the off the field stuff, Spenny. I think that, it might be a little bit overblown, hopefully. But like Voss said with the nihilism take, we really don't need to worry about this team too much. So I'm just going to go ahead and pair him with Jalen Waddle and Trevor Lawrence and the offensive line that I'm building up. And he's going to be my wide receiver too.
Get him out of Florida and he's good to go. That's a crazy state.
It really is. It really is.
What percentage of the players you think are in the top 3 rounds come out of Florida? 25% of it, 20%.
Yeah, I would say 25.
Maybe even more. Yeah.
All right. I've waited long enough. I'm going to get 2 freaky, nasty edge rushers, Owe and Tryon. I'm taking them both. And we're going to have lots of athleticism coming off the edge. Owe was not super productive. Tryon opted out last year. But I think both these guys have huge potential. And if you take 2, one of them is probably going to pan out.
That's a good line of thinking, I think, and I do like both of those guys, Tryon especially. So nice picks there by you as I pull up the board for myself. Okay. A couple different directions I could go here, but I'm going to go ahead and try and keep that edge position solidified across from Azeez Ojulari. So I'm going to go ahead and take a certified thick boy out of Wake Forest in Carlos Boogie Basham Jr. III. A guy who's just really fun to watch, just an absolute bowling ball coming off the edge there. And I think he would – is this like a 3-man league? Are these teams going to be playing each other?
Yeah.
So Boogie Basham, I think, is going to be him and Azeez Ojulari. That's kind of a good thunder and lightning pairing. So I'm going to go ahead and pick him for the other side of that edge position. Boogie Basham at number 10 for me.
I'm going to go ahead and round out. Boogie Basham I was actually just watching yesterday, and it's just utilizing his strength more, and he could really be a souped-up Pernell McPhee. Really, really, really could. Just a better overall athlete, and I like the idea of him to Baltimore. But moving on, I'm going to go ahead and put Elijah Moore on my football team with this first pick, and I think I'm not going to double dip this time for the first time. But Elijah Moore, I think, rounds out my receivers. You guys kind of poached all the top ones, and now I'm filling out with a dominant slot receiver, someone that I think has outstanding IQ as a route runner and ability to read coverage, read leverage, break down zones, and run after the catch. Tough as nails, really, really outstanding hands, hangs onto the football through contact, doesn't care. And I think he's just got a little bit of that AJ Brown, DK Metcalf magic, the Alaskan water from the water boy. I think he's got a little secret sauce from that Ole Miss receiver crew. He seems to have the same kind of dog in him that those two had. And I think they had something special down there with some of those skill positions. Then I'm going to take Creed Humphrey. I want him. Yeah, I want him to solidify the middle of my offensive line. I could possibly put Vera Tucker out at right tackle or at guard. And then I have Darasaw I could stick at left tackle pretty comfortably. So I think having those guys there puts me in a very good spot. Creed Humphrey overall tested so much better than I thought. He tested better than Eric McCoy, which I didn't think was possible. You guys know how much I love Eric McCoy. Humphrey checks a lot of boxes overall. And while he might not be, immediately dominant, I think he's just going to be a nice, competent, smart centerpiece for my offensive line. Nice pivot.
It really is. That was literally, I had been planning that. I was like, yeah, I'm going to grab him here for pretty much that whole time. So I'm going to have to take a look at the board here again and see what we can find. I need to make a pick along the defensive line here. I'm going to go with your boy Spenny Levi Onwuzurike out of Washington. That's going to be one of my defensive tackles. Just another guy who's kind of a low-key beast that people aren't talking about a ton in that top tier, but a guy that I think we both kind of liked when we discussed the defensive lineman. And I think he's going to pair nicely with those two edge rushers. Still got to make another DT pick, but glad that I got a little bit of value there as the big board that I'm looking at here. I don't know whose this is at necessarily, but he's like 22 on there. So I think I got some good value on Levi and Onwuzurike.
For sure. Yeah, he's probably the most disruptive. I'm going to add a little bit of spine to my defense with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah to play linebacker. And he kind of has some versatility, maybe even play some safety. He's almost like a dime back, really. I like his skill set for the modern NFL. He's not a run stuffer per se. And then I'm going to draft the best slot corner, Asante Samuel out of Florida State.
Asante Samuel Jr.
The third defensive back selected whose father played professionally to help match up against Spencer's fantastic pick of Elijah Moore. So going double dipping on defense this time around.
Very nice. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stick on the defensive side of the ball, grab myself a linebacker in Zaven Collins out of Tulsa, just a guy who kind of flies all over the place. A lot of people seem to like him, and I liked him a little bit in what I have been able to watch. It hasn't been a ton, but just a dude who, a little bit of a smaller program, or maybe not small, but, Tulsa, it's doesn't necessarily put out a ton of prospects, but a lot of people seem to talk about Collins. Spenny certainly seemed to be as well. So I think I'm going to like that value there, slotting him in there next to Micah Parsons. So Zaven Collins is my 12th pick.
Collins would pair well with Parsons, being a little bit more timid, while Parsons can be your fireball for sure. I'm going to add to my cornerback. Actually, no, I'm going to go Baron Browning, and I'm also going to go Jameen Davis out of Kentucky. I think Baron Browning is someone that can be pretty sound in the middle of the football field. Overall, outstanding tester. I think that he can be unlocked a little bit more still. Very heavy hands, heavy on contact. Ohio State linebackers know how to work through mess and work through traffic. And then Jameen Davis, another athletic freak who could potentially be someone that matches up with tight ends, with some elite tight ends that can fill that kind of Javante David role a little bit. He sifts through traffic really well as well. I think he's someone that you want more in kind of a will role, someone who's going to be backside, someone who's going to be a chasing linebacker. But I'm going to grab those two, get some really high athletic testers that have, Browning never really started fully, but he was a big part of the defense for several years there. And then Davis with a ton of experience in the last couple of years as well. So I'm happy to have those two and have a ton of speed and athleticism and strength and some coverage ability in the middle of my defense to pair with my corners.
Okay, speaking of pairing, I'm going to go ahead and take Mr. Jamar Johnson at safety to go ahead and put him back there at that safety tandem with Trevon Moehrig. Just kind of having the two guys over top that are going to be able to protect these corners who I have not made a huge investment in, unfortunately, but we're going to keep seeing what we can find there. But it's going to be Jamar Johnson, a guy who is a little bit of a playmaker. I'm reading here that he actually picked off Justin Fields twice, Spenny's boy there. So hopefully we can continue that in our little interleague play here. Jamar Johnson, my pick at 13.
That's a good pick, Jay. You sniped me right there.
Nice.
I'm going to double dip at safety. I'm going to chase it with Richie Grant and Javon Holland. They're both more free safety types. And looking at my defense, I don't think we're going to be very good against the run. And I'm okay with that because the offense is going to put up so many points that we're going to need to play run defense.
Okay. All right, we're on to pick 14 now. And let's take a look here. What do I need? I'm going to finish it up on the defensive line and just pick an absolute brick shit house out of NC State and Aleem McNeil.
You motherfucker.
Who I knew Spencer was looking at in this round specifically. So
motherfucker.
Grab him and pair him up there with Onwuzurike and all the other boys that I got there on the defensive line. I got a nasty defensive front, and he is going to be a very nasty and strong addition. Aleem McNeil, my pick at 14.
Was going to be my next pick, and I was going to pair him with a certain other defensive lineman and continuing my sweep. And that deterred me a little bit from being able to do so. So now I am going – I guess I'll just do it anyway. I'm going to go with Davion Nixon out of Iowa. I am going to get that 3-tech. I don't feel the need to pair him quite yet, so I'm not going to double dip. But I'm going to go get Elijah Molden. Asante Samuel Jr., I think, definitely could be the best slot, but I think he has the ability to play outside corner enough despite being a little bit short, where he's awesome. But having him in that slot role is fun. To me, the best guy who can't play outside corner to a high extent and is in the slot is Elijah Molden, someone that we profiled, definite my guy for me. You don't want to give that Tyrann Mathieu comp, but it's hard not to see it with the way that he's able to go snipe hits and see plays happening. And he runs a 4.6, but he plays faster. He sees it first, reads really well in zone, and it's just a menacing presence. So I feel confident over the middle of the football field at that second level, having Jameen Davis, Baron Browning, and Elijah Molden, and that middle of my defense that still needs some defensive interior depth. I still need some safeties. I still need a tight end, and I need to fill out my offensive line as well. None of us have picked running backs yet, but I feel like that's going to keep going for a little while. There's a few in this draft, and with only 3 teams, I don't think any of us are having a pressing need when there's 3, 4, 5 guys that can provide good production when we feel fit.
That's a really good pick. I'm a big Molden fan, as I know you are as well. We talked about him a lot on the Beatdown Big Board safety episode, which you haven't listened to. You should go back and do that. It's evergreen, and it's a ton of fun talking about all the safeties and slot types, and he was a great player that I think we both really enjoyed chopping up. So nice pick there. I'm going to go back to the offensive side of the ball. I started off hot with 2 tackles. You guys sniped 1 or 2 of my targets there in the interior offensive line, so I've decided to wait, come back around, and I got one of my guys in Wyatt Davis out of Ohio State, who just talk about a corn-fed shit kicker there at right guard at Ohio State. I think he can maybe play right or left guard, depending on what I need here with this team. He's just a guy who gets it. He gets what being an interior offensive lineman is all about. He gets out in the run game. He starts shit with people. He's a little bit of a hothead, so we might have to get a babysitter for him. You know how teams do that sometimes. But yeah, he's a guy who I like a lot, and I'm excited to plug him in there as my first interior offensive lineman off the board, Wyatt Davis.
That's a good choice, Jake. Let's see here. Spencer, have you taken both D tackles yet or no? Only one?
No, only Davion Nixon so far.
All right, I'm going to take Milton Williams out of La Tech.
I knew you loved him. I don't think I've heard you talk about him, but I knew that you would love him.
He's tweeted about him. I know that.
Yeah. He's a penetrator, and he tested outstanding. If you look at my defense, we are built to defend the pass, and him next to Barmore, sandwiched between Tryon and Owe, I think they can really going to be able to get after some quarterbacks with that quartet up front. And then I think it's time to go back to the offensive line. Let's see. Who do I have here? I am going to take Alex Leatherwood to play right guard.
Love that. Leatherwood, I'm pretty sure that the Draft Network has a good way of describing what you want to do with Leatherwood, which is experiment with him at tackle first, see if there's quick development and you're able to get his strikes right and get some more refinement down to fit him. But if not, you have a very high caliber guard who is going to come downhill and he's going to fuck shit up. As a guard in the run game, he has the ability of a tackle and pass protection. He has the length. So I think he's very safe. You do want to play with him at tackle because it is so hard. And, Brandon Thorne and those guys always say there's not enough tackles currently in the NFL. So it's hard to keep being like, all right, this guy will just play guard. This guy will just play guard. No, you need them to try to play tackle first when they have the adequate measurables. But someone that I'm very confident in to be able to make that jump from outside to inside in Leatherwood. So I like that pick.
Thank you.
Nice 2 picks there. I'm going to round out my receiving core. My third receiver, I was tempted Rondale Moore, but he just kind of feels a little redundant with Waddle and Tony, who are my other 2 picks. So I'm going to get a guy who's still a deep threat, but has also shown a little bit more of a complete toolkit, in my opinion. De'Ami Brown out of North Carolina. Just a guy who I think is going to be able to work the middle of the field there with Tony, while Waddle is that deep threat. De'Ami Brown. It's going to be fun on offense with the 3 guys that I got on the offensive line with Trevor Lawrence, hawking it up to them and maybe having them block for him when he gets out in the scrambling game. So it's going to be De'Ami Brown for me there as my third wide receiver.
Love to hear it. Vaz, I don't know your linebacker situation. Mine is full. And I don't know how much you know about Jabril Cox, but I feel like
I do. Yeah, I'm looking at him. I have a curveball.
I feel like he fits your defense pretty well.
Give me the curveball. I was thinking of kicking Osai back inside and really getting crazy with it. Joseph Osai.
You can do whatever you want with these players.
But yeah, Cox is the next linebacker. He's Deion Jones 2.0. That's my comp for him.
Yeah, I see it for sure. Jones might be a little bit more special athletically, but I think Cox is like an actual man coverage defender more so, and can actually get in there and mix it up. Do you have another linebacker? Do you have a linebacker?
I have JOK.
Okay, right. Damn. So that would really fit your theme at some point. I don't need any more insight, guys. So I was trying to see your thoughts on Cox there.
Is it my turn? I thought it was Spencer's turn.
I think is it mine? No,
it's yours.
It's mine, Spencer's? Okay. Okay. So my linebackers are full, as I was saying. I need to get some interior defensive linemen. I need some safeties. This one is going to be – I'm going to do a double dip, and this is going to be the most boom or bust possible safety tandem. I feel like maybe not the second one, but I'm going to go get Andre Cisco out of Syracuse, the ball hawk, the single high guy that I feel you can stick him back there and let him work as just a single high safety, and he's going to hone in a little bit better. I think there was a lot of really crazy shifts in coverage for Syracuse, a lot of late trade-offs in coverage for them, but he had outstanding ball production, taking a risk. He's got the ACL. He's coming off of that, but an incredibly explosive athlete, has incredible size and range combination. And I'm going to pair him with another big one. I'm going to go with Hamza Nasildeen out of Florida State, Vaz's school. And sure. I'm gonna put the big safety back there that can match up with tight ends. I think between him and Jameen Davis, I'm going to be able to cover some tight ends. I think I'm going to have a funky back part of my defense, my spine of my linebackers and my safeties. I think are a weird combination right now, but I think they're a fun bunch that have a ton of unique ability. Yeah,
Nasildeen's exactly what you said. He's a tight end matchup, and he can lay the wood against the run too. It's a good pick.
I like him in that strong safety role. And I've got the good corners, so I'm confident. I've got the two top corners and a slot guy, so I'm confident for him to be able to kind of be that rover type that can go do some funky stuff.
It's a good setup. With the lack of corners, I'm going to go 3 linebackers here. I'm going to round it out with Nick Bolton out of Missouri, a guy who I'm reading here. He is kind of a Parsons type, but he's not on Parsons level, so kind of a diet Parsons type. Reading that he is not the most traitsy prospect, but more than enough tape that says he plays the linebacker position exceptionally well. So admittedly, haven't watched a ton on Nick Bolton, just a little bit, but I know that if I slot him in there next to a guy like Michael Parsons and some of the other picks that I've made in that front 7, I feel like that's probably going to be pretty good value with him being 33 on PFF's big board here, it looks like. So shout out to Mike Renner for that write-up. Nick Bolton, my pick at 17.
Bolton hits, and he's explosive. He's got some violence to his game. He can roam in the middle of the field. A little untrained still. A little grooming needs to be done. There's a lot of the deep Twitter Alabama defense weird part of Twitter. I don't know how to put it. The Sabanese language part of Twitter. Not huge fans of his in some ways, but I think if you just ask him to sit in hooks and be a chase player, he can be a goodwill type linebacker for you.
Strong. I'm going back to the O-line. Sam Cosby out of Texas is going to be my blindside protector. He is a very experienced player. He's a solid pass blocker, and I think he has some upside remaining at the NFL level. And then I'm going to, let's see here, good interior offensive line class, but I'm going to take Jackson Carman out of Clemson and kick him inside to left guard, which I think is really going to give me a mauling pairing on the offensive line that can also pass block pretty damn well.
Love to hear it.
Okay, that's a really nice pick. I'm going to maybe take a little bit of an extraneous one here, but it's one that's fun, and I think it kind of matches up with what I'm doing, and it's not going to hurt me at all. I'm going to fill in that tight end spot with Pat Freiermuth out of Penn State. Just kind of a toss it up there, kind of rebounder at the tight end position. I know some people are not super high on the tight ends in this class. I get that, but you got to make a pick at some point. So I'm going to go ahead and get the guy who I think is probably the best one in Pat Freiermuth for Trevor Lawrence to throw it up to.
Love to hear it. I'm going to go double dip again. I'm going to stick Big Ben Cleveland in this offensive line. I'm going to have him as my right guard, as my tone setter, as my down blocker. He tested crazy well, even better than I possibly thought. Only got to see him for one day at the Senior Bowl. I think if he got all 3 days at the Senior Bowl, we would be talking about a much higher evaluated prospect. I think he quietly dominated in Georgia's offensive line. And then I'm going to actually end up kicking Elijah Vera Tucker as my right tackle now. That's why I'm happy I took him early. I think you can stick him anywhere on an offensive line. He's one of those freaks. And I'm going to go stick Quinn Miners as my left guard, someone who's super mobile, someone who can down block as well and get nasty. So I fill out the middle of my offensive line with Ben Cleveland, with Creed Humphrey, and with Quinn Miners, I don't think the hype got to be too big, and I thought it was going to for a little bit, but Miners, man, he is a special mover, special athlete. His feet and his frame with his feet in pass protection, really unbelievable. So nimble, such quick feet. He truly is a dancing bear in the sense that he can anchor with kind of one foot and then pivot with the other one and really wash you out of a play. I think that my offensive line is a pretty solid unit at this point. That's why I waited a little bit longer to really fill it out, but I'm happy with where I'm at.
Yeah, there's still Trey Smith, Deontay Brown, Aaron Banks, Kendrick Green, Stone Forsythe, Little. There's a lot of good offensive linemen still left.
Forsythe I really like a lot. All
right, so I'm going to go ahead and
Brady Christensen.
So I'm gonna pull a Voss here, and I'm looking at Liam Eichenberg's. Not in a bad way. I'm gonna take a tackle out of Notre Dame and kick him into guard here. Looking at Liam Eichenberg's Lance Zierlein right up right now, he got a Justin Pugh comparison. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick him up and kick him into that left guard spot. He's gonna be there next to Penei Sewell, and it's just gonna be kind of a locking up that left side there for Trevor Lawrence, a guy who's gonna come in. And Zierlein, round 2 grade, should be an immediate starter. I think those two guys on that left side of the line still need a center, but then I got Wyatt Davis and Rashawn Slater on the other side. My offensive line is pretty built up at this point, so I'm grabbing Liam Eichenberg here at 19.
Good pick. I guess it's time to take a running back.
Wow, Voz cracked first. Voz cracked first.
I did.
Imagine that.
I want to take Najee. I think he's a real asset in short yardage and a very really underrated.
You would right now. You sound like you're really excited to make this pick. That you're just like you're really selling this hard.
I think he's an underrated pass catcher. I think that's really you see that big frame and you don't think of a guy that's breaking tackles like Alvin Kamara, but he has a little bit of that in him. And I'm looking for a pass-first offense. I think he fits the bill.
Najee, to me, is one of the most special running backs I've seen in a while because of that pass-catching ability. He just doesn't have home run speed. The fact that he doesn't have home run speed, I think, makes him better. He knows he's not going to run by you, so he starts stacking up angles and levels and can run through you and make you miss at the same time without just being able to just beat angles. I love that about him, and it's kind of like addition by subtraction almost in his skill set. You got one more, Bob.
Yeah, I'm going to go with receiver. It's a tough decision here between Tylan Wallace, Amon St. Brown, Josh Palmer.
Who are your two receivers? You got Chase and Waddle?
Smith.
Chase and Smith.
I would think
about Rondale Moore.
That's who I'm going to take. I'm going to take Rondale Moore. Kind of a gadget player, but I think that's okay because he's an effective gadget player. And just as far as general philosophy, does he have bust potential with injuries? Yes, but sometimes the quote-unquote safe guys are the ones that end up busting. So you might as well shoot for the upside sometimes.
Plus, I feel like with your receiver pair that you already have, your ability to take on a gadget player, what they would be able to do for the offense while the other guys can keep some, quote-unquote traditional roles, but having Moore be able to be the one that just is a little bit of a mismatch problem and do some of the funky stuff for you while you let the other guys keep the corners out and the safeties out and scared, where I feel like Moore would really feast in that offense you've created.
Yeah, and Pitts too. So
plus Pitts, right? Yeah, you got that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm feeling this team.
And even if a safe guy busts, it's okay because he decided to practice safely. But I'm going to go ahead and move on to fill in my cornerback spot. I needed a second corner there behind Tyson Campbell, so I'm going to go ahead and grab Tay Gowan out of UCF. Again, another guy that I've only watched a little bit of, but people speak highly of him, and to the point that a fan actually tweeted us about Tay Gowan a couple weeks ago, and Tay Gowan liked the tweet. So Tay Gowan searches his own name on Twitter, which might be a little bit of a reason why he's fallen this far. But I'm going to pick him up there as my CB2.
Love it. I really wanted Aleem McNeil, obviously. He is gone, so I've been stuck here trying to think between either Tyler Shelvin or Jay Tufele out of USC. And for the sake of this
how about Bobby Brown?
Bobby's all right. I like Bobby Brown, but I just like either of those two guys to be maybe Bobby Brown over Tyler Shelvin, because Shelvin apparently has reported to LSU's camp at like 370 before. Right. I think he has the shape issues, but I think I'm actually going to go for the sake of this exercise with Jay Tufele because he can two gap. He probably fits a single penetration style defense. In my defense, we're going to be a hybrid front. We're not going to care too much about that, but he is the one that brings Jay Tufele Tufele. Jay Tufele. I'm going to have him because he brings the most disruption. He brings the get off. He brings a little bit more as a pass rusher, or maybe a little bit less in the ability to really command two blocks. I think he can be more disruptive. I think he can play more snaps than Tyler Shelvin or Bobby Brown. I think he can stay on the field longer. And in this defense that I have created, I like him a lot. Actually, probably should have gone with Chris Tonga out of BYU maybe. But I'm too gone. I like Tufele. I've committed to it. I've talked myself into it. So I think he's someone that pairs well with what I've created and is going to be a fun defensive player for me.
Well, I think you can pick that guy now, right?
I can pick that guy. I'm going to go with Chris Tonga. That's actually not bad. I think that Tonga can play a 5-tech, 3-tech. I think Tufele can play the 5-tech, 3-tech. Then you can move those two around and have Tufele be that 1-tech, have Tonga Tonga will be able to play the early down nose tackle role and be able to maybe kick out to the 3-tech. Then I've got Davion Nixon who can play some 5-tech, 3-tech, and Tufele that can kind of move all around through there. So I have a pretty multiple, weird interior defensive line here in my defense. So I think I might have gone too many picks a little bit. Chris Tonga is Khyiris Tonga Tong-A.
Samoan, the two Samoans back to back. Love to see it.
I do love that. I now have picked. I think we're gonna have to go one extra pick because of what I just did, because I now have a base defense and I picked a nickel too.
Is there another position you're missing? You didn't pick a running back.
I don't have a running back or a tight end yet.
Well, no, you went first, so you have one extra. You just scratch one of those D tackles and pick either tight end or running back.
I'm gonna go with Tonga. I'm gonna go with Tonga over Tufele. Actually, right. I messed it up. I'll have to chug a beer later, and then give me Hunter Long. I guess I'm gonna have to take one. He's probably my tight end 2. Honestly, in this draft, I think he's maybe the most sound blocker in terms of someone who will be an actual high volume, capable receiving tight end. I think that he is a very traditional style tight end. He's not Pitts. He's not Darren Waller, but I think that he can fill the role of someone who can do it all. So give me Hunter Long. I think he gives me upside in the run game there.
I'm pretty shocked and maybe even a little disappointed that Voss was the one to break the seal on running backs, but it's perfectly ironic. So I am glad that it happened. But I'm going to go ahead and get my running back out of the way. And it's a guy who I think is going to be a perfect pairing here with Trevor Lawrence. It's of course, Travis Etienne out of Clemson, a guy who was talked about as a first round pick, maybe potentially last year, much to the chagrin of my Greek friend here on the screen. He decided to go back to school, and now he's potentially going to be a second round pick this year or a day 2 guy. But still just really good, complete player, good in the receiving game, very smooth, just kind of a gliding prospect. So I'm going to plug him into my offense. Travis Etienne is my running back.
He can still go day 1.
Think so?
I don't know. He's.
I haven't seen much buzz on that at all, but who knows?
Someone
he could go day 1.
I feel like
The Seahawks.
I don't know about that pick. I don't know. I think he's riskier than some people let on.
Well, then I'll just find somebody undrafted and they'll do the exact same thing.
Exactly. That's all you need to do. Just wait till what's that? Who's that guy out of here? Let's find a Hawkins out of Louisville in the 6th round. Same exact thing. Don't worry about it. Anyway, last 2 picks here to finish up my roster. I am going to take Jabril Cox out of LSU to be coverage linebacker for me. That rounds out my defense. I was thinking about Asai and kicking him back inside. A little bit too cute. But a couple defenders that didn't get picked who are in this range are Peyton Turner out of Houston, Rousseau's available, and then 2 corners, Eric Stokes, Kelvin Joseph, and Melifonwu, and Aaron Robinson out of UCF. So pretty deep defensive side. And with my final pick,
Stokes probably should have gone in this draft.
Yeah,
Stokes
I agree.
You got a pick left.
Yeah,
you've shown any penchant to just like go off the rails and pick whatever position.
He's just gonna
even if you don't need.
my final pick, I'm gonna take. I want to take Zach Wilson to be my quarterback. I don't love the pick. You guys got the 2 best quarterbacks by far. I think he's neck and neck with Lance, but I will finish up my roster with Zach Wilson.
It's a good team. That's really smart getting that 3rd pick. I think either one of us maybe would have preferred that, but it's a nice job by you there to grab Wilson. Some people think is the best quarterback in this draft. I know none of us here in this chat believe that, but good pick.
Thank you.
Okay, so my last pick, I need a center. So I'm just going to go with the highest rated interior lineman on the board that I'm looking at. That's Trey Smith out of Tennessee. I don't know anything about him. Spenny.
Kendrick Green. You need Kendrick Green.
Kendrick Green? Okay, yeah. Kendrick Green. Sure, I'll take him.
Who are your guards? Who are your guards?
I got Wyatt Davis at right guard.
Wyatt Davis.
Liam Eichenberg is my left guard.
They can't play center. You need Kendrick Green.
Yeah.
Okay. Kendrick Green.
Out of Illinois.
Yeah, there you go. Kendrick Green is a superior. He's a very high-level athlete. He moves. I think he should be playing 3-tech, to be honest with you. He is explosive. He is violent. He's a little funky. He doesn't quite seem to have angles all the way down yet, but I think he is a very special athlete that has a strong understanding of hand placement, leverage, and some things like that. Can really pull, can really be a zone guy as well. I think he's great out in space. And like I said, I think he should have been playing 3-tech for the last 5 years, and I bet he would be a draft.
He played 3-tech. He played 3-tech, I think, his first year, and then he transitioned.
Oh, wow.
That's how you see
maybe
it.
He wasn't as good as I thought.
Listen, I like dogs on my
That's weird.
I like to hear that.
Yeah, he's a dog. So that leaves me to take my running back, I guess, and I'm happy with mine. I love Najee as the number 1 back. This guy is my number 2, Javante Williams. He is a brick shit house. He runs through, makes guys miss. He plays a little bit differently physically than most. This is how you know that a guy is a badass. When people start saying things like, if you read scouting reports on him and listen to podcasts, and you hear people saying things like, we're worried about how physical he is in terms of him holding up longevity-wise because he hits that hard. That is what I want in my running back. I want someone who hits so hard they're saying he's going to fall apart. He hits so hard the wheels are going to fall off. He is a hammer. I like him in my offense. I think I've got a very good run-blocking offensive line as well. I've got Justin Fields, who presents some options with me able to run some option scheme and do some different things. So I'm happy to have Javante Williams be that kind of like I don't think they're very similar, but role-wise, he can be a Gus Edwards in ways. He is not that fast, but he is going to put his head down. He is going to run through guys. He is going to pick up first downs. He's okay as a receiver, but I love Javante Williams, so I'm happy to have him.
Mr. Irrelevant, Javante Williams.
That's it.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, I got him right here in front of me if you want me to go for it.
Boom.
Let's do it.
So I got Voss, Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Christian Barmore, Tevin Jenkins, Greg Newsome, Devontae Smith, Caleb Farley, Landon Dickerson, Jason Owe, Joe Tryon, Jeremiah Owusu. What was this guy? Kennedy?
Coramo.
My handwriting, not great.
Jack Kennedy, Jeremiah
Do it
Kennedy.
like a lot.
Ask not what your defense can do for you, but what you can do for your defense.
Do it like a lineup, Jake. It makes more sense that way. You want me to?
I wrote them down. Yeah, you can do it then, because I wrote them down 1, 2, 3.
Quarterback Zach Wilson, left tackle Sam Cosby, left guard Jackson Carman, center Landon Dickerson, right guard Alex Leatherwood, right tackle Tevin Jenkins, tight end Kyle Pitts, wide receivers Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Rondale Moore, running back Najee Harris. On offense, defense Joe Tryon and Jason Owe off the edge, Christian Barmore and Milton Williams on tackle. Linebackers are Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Jabril Cox. Cornerbacks Caleb Farley, Greg Newsome, Asante Samuel, and the rangy free safeties Richie Grant and Javon Holland.
Love it. I didn't write mine down, but let's see if I can do this. On offense, I have Justin Fields. My offensive line from left to right is Christian Darasaw, Quinn Miners, Creed Humphrey, Ben Cleveland, and then Elijah Vera Tucker. I have Hunter Long as my tight end, my nice versatile tight end. My receivers are Mr. Rashad Bateman, the gopher himself. I also have Terrace Marshall as my field stretcher. I have Elijah Moore in the slot. And on defense, I have Baron Browning as well as Jameen Davis as my interior linebackers. On the outside, I have Kwity Paye and Jalen Phillips. Damn, those were good picks. Paye and Phillips, those were damn good picks. My interior defensive line is not that great. Davion Nixon, Chris Tunga, but I think they can be disruptive. Tunga can two-gap for me. Davion Nixon can get some pressure. My safeties, I took Andre Sisco as well as Hamza Nasildeen out of Florida State. And then, of course, my terrible trio, the badasses at cornerback. I have Mr. J.C. Horn, Mr. Patrick Surtain the second, as well as Elijah Molden in that crazy slot role. Him and Nasildeen, those are going to cause some problems for people. Molden and Nasildeen are some fun matchup players considering my corners.
Nasty. Your corners are nasty. I'm envious.
My QB
I went a little Ravens themed.
Okay, I like that. We all like that. My QB was Trevor Lawrence. My running back was Travis Etienne. Tight end Pat Fryermuth. Wide receivers, I had Jalen Waddle, Kadarius Toney, and De'Ami Brown. Offensive line, left to right, I had Penei Sewell, Liam Eichenberg, Kendrick Green, Wyatt Davis, and Rashawn Slater. Edge, I had Aziz Ojulari and Boogie Basham, Levi Onwuzurike, and Aleem McNeil at defensive tackle. Linebacker, Micah Parsons, Nick Bolton, and who is my third guy? Zaven Collins. Corners, I had Tay Gowan and the kid from Georgia. What was his name?
Tyson Campbell.
You took Tyson Campbell.
Yeah, and then my safeties were Trevon Moehrig, and who's my strong safety here? I believe
Jamar Johnson.
Jamar Johnson. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that's my team.
Nice job, guys. I think all three are good-looking teams.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. I think that's a really good exercise to try and think about what these guys could be on a blank slate, and what that I feel like that is what you're looking at them to be by the end of their rookie contract, like in a starting role where they're best. Not trying to think about pigeonholing them too much and what they could be, who you want to build a team around. That's a good exercise.
Yep, definitely. I don't know about you guys, but I am just intellectually winded right now.
Imagine Eric DaCosta after the 7th round.
Let's go string.
That's when he's got to be kicking into action, getting the UDFAs. That's when real fun again.
Absolutely.
Crack on these peanut butter sandwiches and get the fuck out of here. But yeah, it was an exercise. It was a lot of fun. Great suggestion, Voss. And as always, thanks for hopping on with us, buddy.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys. Great to see you.
Definitely. Before we get out of here, you can go ahead and follow us on social media. I'm going to be putting a graphic together for this poll for you guys to vote on for who won this draft. You can follow that at Podcast Beatdown on Twitter. Also check out at Be More Beatdown, our main page where we're going to be pimping it as well. You can find me on Twitter at Jake Luke. That is LOUQUE. Spenny is at Ravens4Dummies. Follow us on IG at Baltimore_Beatdown. And Voss, where can they find you and your stuff?
At Vasilis Beatdown, Vasilis Beatdown, and Baltimore Beatdown. We're pumping out a lot of great draft content right now.
We sure are. 2 weeks ago, fellas, it's the home stretch here. It certainly feels like there's a long way to go. It always just feels like it's a week or two too long, doesn't it? But we're almost there. It's going to be a ton of fun. And in the meantime, going to have a ton of good content for you guys. But until then, thanks for tuning in. And we'll talk to you again next week. Probably going to have some updates on the Beatdown Big Board and putting that bracket together. So, Voss, you're probably going to be joining us for that. That's not an option. I'm forcing you, so you're going to be involved in that as well. And until then, we will talk to you guys. Have yourselves a great weekend.
See ya.
Arrivederci.
Gorlami. Gorlami.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.